Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 12 of AET 236, Building Service Systems. We are very much on the home stretch here, 4 weeks to go. So let's finish strong. So before I get into the content this week, a reminder of the Career Connections event, which is happening this Wednesday, April the 5th from 1 p.m. to 2:30, 2:45 p.m. Um, I believe we've mentioned this all before, but these are extremely good opportunities for you to interact with folks that are hiring all over the state right now. If you're looking for an internship, if you're, especially if you're graduating soon and you're looking for a job, this is an amazing opportunity because people are hiring right now. But also, if you're graduating in the future or even 5 years from now, it doesn't matter. It's always good to get your name out there, to start to get to know some of the employers, to look at what's going on in the industry. So there'll be a multiple, like I think 7 or 8 employers there, and they'll go over a little introduction to themselves and what they do and some of the opportunities and so forth. And then there'll be a general Q&A, and then there'll be a breakout room. So I have to say, I wish I had this kind of stuff available to me when I was an undergrad or even a grad student for that matter, um, because it's just great to know what's out there. But also, I mean, these are opportunities that you can get to sort of slide in and talk to some potential employers without even before you go through the formal interview process. So it just can really give you a head start on getting a job or an internship soon or well into the future. And look, even if you're working for another company, I mean, let's be honest, you don't know what's going to happen, right? Like the company you work for now, maybe it's great. I hope it all works out for you forever and ever. Like you have a long, lucrative career with them. But you just don't know. Next year, maybe something happens. Maybe you feel like you need a change. Maybe the business changes, whatever. You just never know what's going to happen. So it's always good to just sort of talk to people and get a feel for what's out there. And you never know how that's going to help you shortly or in the future. Okay, so that's Wednesday. So I do strongly suggest that you attend. If you do attend, you should do everything you can to have your camera on and be ready to interact. Certainly look presentable, like business casual is fine. Just not, t-shirts and sweatshirts and that sort of thing. Like, so look somewhat professional. Suit and tie, anything like that is absolutely not necessary, but just look presentable. And that's Wednesday, so I hope you take advantage of that. And there's an announcement here it's all on the homepage, like a link. So here's a link to all of the people that will be talking. It's also you can RSVP there. Here's the Zoom link. So it's all there for you. Okay, so that's Wednesday. Um, Regarding this week's content, it's a little bit different this week. So I know that you all have been wondering your whole lives what flocculation is. And this week, you'll get to know finally what that means. So, flocculation, among many other aspects of the water treatment process, will be part of this week's content. And so, what it boils down to this week is we all use water in our buildings, in our homes, and so forth, right? And so, the question is, there are, we need clean water to drink and to, wash and so forth. So, where does that clean water come from? How does it get clean? Where does it start before it gets clean? Because obviously, if we're pulling like water from a lake or a river or a reservoir, like there could be any number of contaminants in there. There's only certain things you can control. How do we make sure that that water is clean before it gets to you? So that's about half of what we're doing this week. The other half is what do we do with that water after we're done, right? So we use water for our showers and our baths and our, washing dishes and drinking and bathrooms and, toilets and so forth. And so obviously that water is not going to be immediately reused, like, you know, piped off to the house next door. Like that's not gonna fly. And so what do we do with that water? How would you clean it up? So that's the other part of it. So, and how do we get it there as well? And so that's the sort of two sides of what we're going to look at. So the first thing is wastewater treatment, huge part of the industry, the water industry that is. And so this is, as you will see, a major sort of industrial process to clean up this water. And so we go over all these different treatment processes, which is pretty um, common, like no matter where you're getting your water. I mean, it's going to be really, really pretty much the same process. There's a few options, but it's pretty much the same everywhere you go in the United States. Um, and so there, in terms of where does the water go, there's a couple different options here, and we'll go over a few of them. Some of it's from readings in your book, but there's also some videos on this. Um, the most common way for, to remove water from a building is through a sewer system, but not everybody has a sewer system. And so there are on-site treatment options, such as septic tanks. So you go over a septic tank here. There's a nice video on a septic tank, how that works. So some of you may have septic tanks if you live particularly in the southern part of the state. But I know other parts of the country, like where I grew up, we had a septic tank. There's no sewer system. It's a tiny little town. And so we had a septic system. And so it's not uncommon to have a septic system, although in the state of Delaware, they are getting rid of all septic systems because they work, but they can cause some problems if they don't work properly, whereas a sewer system is generally more reliable. But anyway, there's on-site treatment options. Now, if we want to get into the more green building side of things, which you will this week, you can have what's called a gray water system or even a black water system. So gray water is water that's like you use in your house, but it's not contaminated with anything potentially dangerous, like washing your dishes, washing your hands, right? So just running it in the sink, like generally this is soap, right? Like that's not anything that's dangerous. Whereas like your black water is more, coming out of the bathroom and so forth, where there can be some toxins and some, E. coli and stuff can be in there. There's different treatment options for that. But gray water, if you want to minimize your water use, which can be a part of sustainable building design, which we talked about with LEED and living buildings and all that, minimizing your water use is a huge part of that. And if you pay attention to the news at all, you'll know that there's water shortages going on all over the place, especially in the desert Southwest in the United States, but all across the world, there's water shortages. And so gray water is one potential solution to that, where you can just reuse water as much as possible without having to, go through the full process of this wastewater treatment process. Because the wastewater treatment process, while it is safe, it does uses a lot of energy. There's a lot of infrastructure. There's a lot of maintenance. There's a lot of costs and so forth. Whereas the gray water system, it's usually pretty low tech. You just kind of reuse the water that's running out of this pipe. So if you can like redirect some of it in to landscaping or whatever, that's one way you can manage your wastewater. But also in terms of water conservation and water preservation and so forth. The part two or topic two of this week is landscaping and water. I guess landscaping that impacts water use and water provision in the local area. So primarily, we're going to look at ways that you can minimize runoff from your landscaping. Right, so runoff is, water runs across surfaces, impervious surfaces, and it flows across it, and then it drains. Like around here, where I live in Newcastle County, I mean, anything that drains off of my property is going to go into the sewer system. So this is perfectly good, like rainwater. I mean, we need some minor cleaning, but it's not toxic or anything like that. See, there's all this rainwater that comes down, and there's nowhere, for the stuff that there's nowhere to go. It's just going to drain into the sewer system, which overburdens the sewer system, which can cause a whole host of problems. But also, it's just like if you have an area where it's dry, and then, if the rain is not seeping into the ground, you know, it's going away somewhere else where you can really use it where it rains on the spot. And so by using different types of landscaping that allow for the water to drain through and replenish the groundwater and so forth, instead of running off into the local sewer system, um, you can minimize your water use. And that's a really big part of green buildings now, especially in arid areas, but even anywhere else. You want to do things like pervious pavement. They actually make concrete and pavement that the water, it looks like regular pavement or concrete, but water can actually seep into it and actually run through it. So it's really an interesting application. And then you can also use landscaping where the water can just drain through, like when you use pavers or brick like this, where, it's functional as like a patio or something, but the water will be able to drain through. All right, so we have the porous concrete. So there we'll provide some details with regards to those different sort of landscaping methods. Okay, so that's kind of the long and short of this week. Again, the idea here is how do we get water? How do we get water clean? And then how is it used? How is it sort of moved around within a building? So we actually will look at some of the plumbing fixtures and so forth. So how do we get clean water? And then where does the water go after we're done? And how do we get it back into that water treatment system? And then we'll also look at on-site treatment options and some sort of green building aspects of water management. Okay, so that's this week. And so this week it's a little different. You don't actually have a lab per se. You actually just have a quiz, and it's all based on the content. And so this is an untimed quiz, so you want to sort of open up the quiz and then go over the questions, and you're going to look at the videos and the reading and so forth and answer the questions. It'll become very clear once you open up that quiz. But that's your sort of your lab for the week, because it's a little longer than your normal weekly quiz and a little more in depth. So that'll count as your lab this week. Okay. All right. So that does it for this week. Again, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I hope you guys have a great week.